This is a rewritten narrative inspired by the public life and emotional themes often associated with Blake Shelton's journey, focusing on fame, loss, and personal transformation. It is not a biography, but a reflective retelling of a life shaped by small-town beginnings, sudden tragedy, and the pressures of success. From Oklahoma roots to national stages, the story explores how ambition and grief can intertwine, shaping identity in unexpected ways. It follows a man who learns that success does not erase pain and that reinvention often comes only after collapse, ultimately returning home inside oneself and rebuilding meaning from what remains. Ada beginnings and a voice taking shape. In Ada, Oklahoma, a boy grew up in a world defined by open skies, modest homes, and the steady rhythm of small-town life. From an early age, he showed an unusual sensitivity to sound and performance, turning everyday moments into stages. Encouraged by family, he explored singing and acting, discovering that music could carry emotions he could not yet name. While other children played without thought, he observed, absorbed, and expressed. The town offered few paths beyond its borders, but it gave him grounding. Within that simplicity, a deeper ambition quietly formed, one eventually pull him far beyond everything familiar. A loss that redefined everything. In adolescence, tragedy arrived suddenly when his older brother died in a car accident, reshaping the emotional foundation of his life. The loss fractured his sense of stability and forced him into a premature confrontation with grief. Music became a refuge, a way to process emotions too large for words. The absence of his brother did not fade. Instead, it became a quiet presence guiding his decisions. In the aftermath, he carried forward with a mixture of sorrow and determination, learning that pain does not disappear, but instead becomes part of identity, influencing at every step he would take thereafter forward. Recognition before the weight of fame. In his mid-teens, recognition arrived through local performance awards, offering a glimpse of validation at a fragile time. What should have been simple achievement felt instead like emotional survival. Each performance carried the weight of everything he had lost, transforming applause into something deeply personal. The attention confirmed his talent, but also intensified the internal pressure to keep going. He was no longer just a teenager singing songs. He was a young man using music as structure against emotional collapse. The stage became escape and anchor, shaping how he understood purpose, identity, and the fragile line between success and grief. Nashville, and the long road of rejection. When he arrived in Nashville, the promise of opportunity quickly met the reality of competition and indifference. The city was overflowing with talent, and standing out required more than ability. It demanded persistence in the face of repeated rejection. He worked survival jobs during the day and performed in small venues at night, often for audiences that barely listened. Industry feedback was inconsistent, sometimes dismissive, labeling him as difficult to categorize. Each rejection tested his resolve, yet each setback also refined his understanding of who he was as an artist. Slowly, persistence replaced desperation as his guiding force forward. Ultimately, breakthrough and the weight of recognition. Success eventually arrived not as a sudden explosion, but as a gradual recognition of talent, refined through years of persistence. What had once been rejection turned into opportunity as audiences connected with his voice and presence. The transition into mainstream attention brought both validation and pressure as visibility increased expectations. Fame reshaped daily life, turning private moments into public narratives. Yet beneath the surface, he remained grounded by memory and earlier struggles, aware that success was fragile. The same industry that once ignored him now celebrated him, but he understood that attention could shift as quickly as it arrived again. Behind the spotlight, strain and survival. With growing fame came increasing scrutiny and personal strain as the demands of public life intensified emotional pressures that had long been present. Relationships faced challenges under constant attention, and the effort to maintain composure often masked deeper struggles. At times, coping mechanisms became unhealthy, reflecting unresolved grief and exhaustion. Despite outward success, internal balance remained fragile. The contrast between public confidence and private difficulty created a tension that shaped his personal life during these years. Yet even within struggle, there were moments of clarity that hinted at resilience, suggesting that survival was still possible through gradual change and awareness. Return to Oklahoma and a slower life, In time, the pace of constant performance gave way to a desire for stability and simplicity. He gradually returned to Oklahoma, choosing a quieter life away from the intensity of constant touring. The transition was not an escape, but a recalibration of priorities, centered on peace and personal grounding. On his ranch, daily life became structured around nature, family, and reflection, rather than public expectation. Relationships deepened in a more private setting, allowing for growth beyond the spotlight. This new chapter emphasized presence over performance, suggesting that fulfillment could be found not in recognition, but in lived experience itself fully. Legacy beyond fame. Looking back, the narrative of his life can be understood less as a traditional rise to fame and more as a journey through loss, adaptation, and renewal. Success became meaningful, not because it erased pain, but because it coexisted with it. His story reflects the complexity of human resilience, where strength is measured not by invulnerability, but by endurance through change. The public persona and private self gradually aligned into a more authentic identity shaped by experience rather than expectation. In this alignment, there is a broader lesson about acceptance, growth, and the ongoing process of becoming whole despite imperfection. What remains after the music? In the end, the story is not defined by awards, albums, or public recognition, but by the quieter transformation that takes place beneath them. It is about learning to live with memory, to accept what cannot be changed, and to find meaning in what endures. The journey from small-town beginnings to national stages becomes less important than the return to self that follows. What remains is a sense of continuity between past and present, pain and peace, loss and gratitude. In that balance, a life finds its truest expression, not in perfection, but in the willingness to keep going forward. Conclusion: carrying the story forward. This rewritten reflection closes on the idea that every life shaped by ambition and loss carries both visible achievements and invisible histories. The journey explored here suggests that identity is not fixed by success or failure, but continuously formed through experience, memory, and change. What matters most is not the scale of recognition, but the ability to remain grounded while navigating its pressures. In the end, resilience is not about escaping pain, but integrating it into a fuller understanding of self. The story leaves us with a reminder that growth is ongoing and meaning is built through persistence and reflection.